Hey folks, I'm Wolf from inquisitorcrafts. On this channel I'm going to build a lot of stuff, mostly out of EVA foam. And in this episode I'm going to show you how I made my Space Marine helmet from the Blood Angels Death Company chapter. So, let's craft.
So, we are going to build a Space Marine helmet. For this build I'm going to use the template I bought from Crawdaddy at Etsy. I'm going to link you the page somewhere in some corner, I don't know. Last time I made helmet from the Dark Angels. Oh, it's too... You probably can't see this really good. Yes. It's a Mark IV helmet. You can see it at the face shield. And this time we are going to build a Mark VII helmet and not from the Dark Angels. I'm going to build a whole suit from the Blood Angels from the Death Company chapter. So, and the Mark VII helmet from the template, it looks a little bit with the tubes like the Mark IV, only with a different plate in the front. Because I'm going to change it, I won't need these three parts. I'm going to put this to the side. And I haven't pre-cut this one, mainly because I'm going to cut this one with my bandsaw and my circle jig, so I don't have to cut this one out. Everything else I pre-cut it and sorted it out. I haven't made one of these helmets before, the template is new for me. I'm very excited how this will fit together. And now I'm going to trace everything on HD foam. I usually take HD foam because the seams are a little bit cleaner while cutting. And almost everything, no, everything is in 5mm HD foam. So let's go. So here we are. I traced everything into EVA foam. In this case, 5mm thick EVA foam, high density. So let's cut the pieces out. So now I am in the garage and I'm going to dremel the cuts that are not very clean. So let's get to it. Since this is a very long build, I'm only going to show you the special parts I made, and I'm not going to show you how I made the basic shape of the helmet. If you're going to use the Dremel, always wear a respirator mask. You don't want this dust in your lungs, so protect yourself. For smoothing down the edges, I'm using this Dremel bit, which I made after a video from the guy from SKS Props, which made the part a little bit softer, so it doesn't take too much of the material off. I think that's a great video. I'm going to link it down below. For the comparison, I'm going to show you my other very professional stored bits, which are way more grittier than the one I use, so they would take too much of the material off, and I wouldn't just smooth out the edges, I would take away the basic shape of the piece. So this is the Vox unit, which comes to the side of the helmet. I cut out this piece with my bandsaw and the circle jig. And because I'm building a Death Company helmet, I'm thinking about going all crazy with the details. And I had the idea I could make the earpiece a little bit more spooky. So I was thinking about gluing the skeleton face on this part. And then I will take 2mm EVA foam. I would like to take 1mm, but I don't have this one. So I'm going to take 2mm EVA foam, heat it up a lot and push it very hard over the skeleton face, so it looks like the face is coming out of the foam, or later looking like coming out of the metal, which I think maybe look very cool. I got no clue if this is going to work or just look very stupid, but this is how I approach most of the stuff. I've just tried it out and either it works or it doesn't. You should definitely heat up both sides of the foam, so that the foam is as smooth as possible if you're gonna pull it over the skull. I think that worked out pretty nicely. That will make a nice earpiece. It's not Canon, but I think it looks really cool. Now I'm going to mark the spot where it is supposed to be, and then I can glue it to the earpiece. Now I'm gluing a skull in the front of the helmet, but don't get used to it. Later in the video I'm gonna rip this one away and going to glue one I 3D printed on. So the original file of the helmet got tubes on the side, but I was aiming for a different look, so I made those at the side and made the punch plate on the front. Out of 5mm EVA foam, I made those laurel wreath to put at the side of the skull. And now I'm taking the punch plate to look how big it has to be to fit in the front. For my last helmet I cut the plate with my Dremel, but that didn't turn out as I wanted it to be, though this time I was thinking about using sheet iron shears to cut it. There's one piece on the top left corner a little bit too short, but that doesn't matter. I'm gonna put another EVA foam half round over it, so it will look good enough. And here I'm putting another 5mm half round in the front of the plate, so it looks nice and smooth. Here I'm adding yet again another 5mm half round as a little detail on the side of the face shield. With my 3D printer I printed out an Imperial Aquila, and though I don't have to sand it too much, I used some spray filler, and that made the surface smooth enough for my use. For the venting tubes, which aren't really tubes, I 3D printed a couple of blood drops and put a half round 10mm around the earpiece and finished the front with the half round. I already glued on the spikes, which I 3D printed, and I also thought the back is too empty, so I 3D printed as well some kind of Death Company, let's call it prayer, so I can put it on the back. Before I glued it onto the helmet, I hit it very short time with my heat gun to bend it a little, that it fits perfectly and smooth to the mohawk, and then I glued it on. And I think that looks really, really good. I like it. And because you can never show too much your love for the Empire, I glued another about 20 Imperial Aguilas on the side of the mohawk. And here I'm adding another kind of detail. This is a screw I made out of plaster. I originally made those for our Warhammer 40k room for the walls, but they are fitting very nicely to the helmet, I think. And on the front of the skull, I printed out with my 3D printer a sigil of the Blood Angels, and I'm going to glue that on. And just in case that it's not clear till now that I'm really loyal to the Emperor of Mankind, I printed out the lettering for the Emperor to put it on the back of my helmet. So this is a rough build of the helmet with all the little details. Here I printed two little shields for the back side, left and right, and another screw for the face shield. And yet again, this is a skull I'm going to remove later. But overall, I think that looks pretty nice. Let's go and prime it. For the priming, I applied 3 thin layers of liquid gum. I could have used a couple of layers flax bond before, but to be totally honest, I forgot. For the second layer, I used the silver color I also used in my Warhammer 40k room on the walls. It's the color from Dekofux, which makes a very nice metallic effect. So I can apply that to all of the helmet. After I let the silver color dry, I hit the helmet with my airbrush with metallic black, and I yet again tried to brush everything black, especially the parts which will be golden afterwards, because they need to be black before I apply the gold, that the gold really can shine. On the bigger surfaces, I'm trying not to make too much color on it so that the silver paint is a little bit shining through. And after that was dried, I hit it with an even darker, more blackish tone on the low points, so that the high points still shine with the silver through. As I said before, I changed the skull
to one I 3D printed because it looks way more fierce. And now I'm adding the gold color. It's also the color from Dekofux, which has a very nice metallic shine, I think. So I'm going to apply that to all the parts that should be golden, like the skull, the spikes, and so on. While painting the letters, I have to be very careful because if I hit the plate in the background, it's very hard to paint that one over even with black. So I have to be very careful here. Now with the gold applied, the lettering looks really, really good. I'm really satisfied with that. Here I'm painting some of the half rounds in silver, and after that I'm going to paint the blood drops in a red tone, but later on that will be changed a little bit. Now the most part of the coloring is done and it looks very nice, and after that I'm going to blackwash it to give it a used look. For the blackwash I'm using black acrylic paint and a lot of water, and I see that there's not too much color on the brush, and then I'm going to paint all over the helmet, wait a little bit and take a towel and take a lot of the color off again, so that the color which is still on the helmet goes into the small parts and give it the used look. After I glued the red foil for the eye parts in, the helmet was finished. I hit it with a little bit of varnish just to make certain parts shine a little bit more, and I think it really looks good. The gold is shining very nicely, and the metallic look of the silver underlaying paint shines a little bit through and is really nice. I love it.
Alright, we arrived at the end of the video. I think the helmet turned out pretty nice. It looks really fierce. I'm really looking forward to see how it looks like when I have made the whole suit. So, thank you for watching. I hope you liked this episode. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to. And remember, be excellent to each other. Bye. Bye.